Mr. Chair, just for a couple of matters of business, the IT person requested numerous times that you use your microphone. And please make sure that they're on because the people on Zoom are unable to hear.
No problem, thank you.
Also, we are down 3 members tonight. And then the ratification for Martha Patrick, AP 72 lot 51.003, 160 Reed Avenue will be ratified at the October 4th, 2023 meeting.
Okay, so we only have 1, 2, 3, 4 members tonight.
Yep.
So can we conduct business?
Yes.
Yes,
The rules say 5.
the rules say 3.
They were changed.
The rules have changed. I just
Yes.
want to make sure.
Yeah.
So we're okay with just, yes, 4 or 3.
Yes,
We're definitely okay with.
you're okay with,
Okay, so we can conduct business. Okay, thank you. Pointing that out. Okay, so, Mark Patrick will be held over for ratification to next month, am I correct?
Correct, October 4th, 2023.
Okay, how about the appeal of J.W. Studley Tree Service? Will that be held over? also?
No, you have the decision in your packet. It is all set to be ratified.
Okay, so the decision's all set, so it's all set to be ratified. Okay,
Mr. Chairman, we have minutes, I believe.
I don't have the minutes. Do we have the minutes?
We all have minutes, yeah. Mr. Chairman, I make motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
All right, so.
Second.
Members have been able to review the minutes of the meeting. All right, and approve, Ross, you approve? Russ?
Approved.
Keith?
Approve.
Okay, so minutes of the meeting have been approved. Okay, any nays on it?
I just need clarification. I'm sorry, there were 2 sets of minutes in your package, June 26th, 2023 and August 2nd, 2023.
I'll amend my motion to also approve the other set of minutes,
Okay, so you're gonna approve both dates, August, which,
August and July,
August and July,
August and June, I'm sorry.
August and June, is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay, all those say aye.
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it, and Ross seconded, okay. Okay, and then we have the, okay, old,
So Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we ratify the decision on the J.W. Studley.
I second that.
okay, Russ has made the ratification. Keith is seconded, all those in favor say aye.
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 Nays, ayes have it. Okay, so the decision's been ratified. Okay, under old business, we have Tammy Whiteman as the owner applicant. Is this a brand new application for? Tom?
No,
No,
Full business.
that's old business. Hold over
This is
from
when we
last
held
month.
over, they marked it out for us on
Okay.
Station Street.
Yep, you're correct. Okay. All right. I didn't see any problems with this. Keith?
I
you?
did not. I went out there and I don't see a problem at all.
Okay, Russ?
Nope, as we said last month, where it is and where it's gonna be, it's not on the street, it's way in and off the street. It's not gonna hit the traffic at all that I can see. Because it's on the top of the hill, so it's,
I agree. It's, even the neighbor's house is on the other side of their lot, so it's not like it's pressed up against the neighbor's
Yep.
lot. So I have no problem with it.
Okay, I don't have any problems.
I make a motion that we vote on it tonight.
second it.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it. Okay, would you like to make a motion that we vote on this?
I approve,
Presented,
approve as presented.
second.
I'll second his motion and I also approve.
Okay. Second on the motion, okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Nays, ayes have it. Okay,
Do you have to do a roll call vote, Mr.?
we can do a roll call. moment. Just cover ourselves. Ross, how do you vote on that?
Approve.
Chief,
Approve as presented.
I also approved as presented. Keith?
I approve as presented, Mr. Chairman.
Approved as presented. Okay. Okay, the next one is new business, which I'll have the secretary please read into the record.
The owner applicant is Vasilius and Vasiliki Milanis. The location is AP 96 lot 46, 701 Main Street, zone is I1. Applicants are seeking a use variance to convert the former Harris Fire Station to a residential three-family dwelling.
Okay, is the applicant here, please?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Thomas Cronin, 1070 Main Street, Coventry, for the applicant and owner. I considered hiring Mr. Lackley to be my expert in this case, but then I would have only had 3 people. So I deeply appreciate your familiarity. So I'll do my best and you can correct me as we go. So as Carrie said, we're here for a use variance, which is somewhat unusual for this board. And so I'll offer quite a bit of detail to meet that high standard. So 701 Main Street, AP 96, lot 46 in Coventry, and AP 2, lot 51 in West Warwick, is the former Phoenix or Harris Fire Station, depending on which town you lived in. Central Coventry owned it up until about 2018 when the Milanis family bought it. It's right next to Bill's Pizza, which is their restaurant, right? That's the easiest landmark if the fire station isn't landmark enough. I have an expert here with me tonight, Vanessa Mann from White Appraisal. So I'm going to try to not be redundant. So if you think I might be leaving something out, I'm sure that she's going to discuss it in her appraisal. So the entire lot, both Coventry and West Warwick, 9,108 square feet, 649 square feet in West Warwick, on the eastern corner of the lot closest to Main Street. So we've had to do a parallel application here. So if you, in terms of that 649 square feet in West Warwick, I have been before the West Warwick Planning Board, the West Warwick Town Council, and the West Warwick Zoning Board for approvals to convert the firehouse to 3 apartments, 2 bedrooms each, residential with owner storage in the bank. The same request that I've made here. So we've been all the way through West Warwick, and as I'm sure you're aware from Mr. McLean's report to you tonight, we have also been before Coventry Planning for their recommendation to this zoning board. So this is probably, the 6th meeting on this parking lot. So the eastern corner of lots West Warwick, 8,459 square feet are in Coventry. It's zoned I2 in Coventry. Bill's Pizzas to the south, Main Street's to the east. There's a multifamily dwelling in West Warwick across the street, as well as a Cumberland Farms gas station. The state of Rhode Island owns a vacant strip of land to the north, all the way along Main Street until you get to the bridge. And importantly, the Patuxent River runs less than 25 feet from the building to the west. So the applicant is seeking to rehabilitate the firehouse into 3 2-bedroom residential apartments. You can't do that in the I2 zone. So that's why we're here tonight. The standard for a use variance is that the structure cannot yield any beneficial use if it conforms to the zoning ordinance. When you say beneficial use, is kind of an archaic term. I think of viable use or sustainable use is really the way I think of it. And as this board is aware, by history, that this place has been vacant for a good long time now. And I certainly would like the board to take notice of that and considering what the uses might be. So the piece of property with the fire station on it is the last parcel, the last lot in Coventry at the West Warwick border near Phoenix. So Coventry runs right up to against this lot. And in some ways that explains why I didn't go to the town council to change the zone. Across the street from this firehouse is a multifamily house, a garage, then 5 multifamily houses in a row, Bill's Liquors, Harris Bar and Grill. Those are all in the B zone. Even though they're multifamily houses, they're in the B zone. So I can't tag on to that zone. The state of Rhode Island owns that strip, but that's also in the industrial zone. And then by the time you get to the bridge, you have the mill. That's actually the source of the industrial zone. So that's why we're here for a use variance rather than a change of zone, just by way of background. So the, focusing on the building for a moment. So there are no changes proposed to the exterior of the building. So it's a beautiful building, right? The tower is really nice. The bell is still in the tower. And so there'll be no changes to the exterior of the building, other than the one exception is those two roll-up garage doors. Obviously, those will be framed in, become walls, probably with some high windows on there. So
Close the door, please.
similarly, no changes are proposed to the property. So I mentioned in the opening that we're about 25 feet from the actual Patuxent River. So not, the setback or the buffer or whatever you want to call it, but the actual flowing river. So changes to the exterior of this building would be ill-advised, right? Would open a can of worms that probably no one could afford to solve. So the exterior will stay exactly as it is, both the parking area and the building. In terms of services, there's public water, there's public sewer. There are two existing entrances from Main Street, to one to each side of the building, in addition to the two garage doors, and those will be utilized. So we're not going to make any changes to the property for obvious reasons. In terms of the proposal, if one was to stand at the front of the firehouse and look at it, I think is the best way to explain this. There'd be one apartment where the left-hand garage door is and behind it. There'll be one apartment on the right-hand side where the garage door is behind it. And then upstairs is already a residential use. So it's the firefighters' quarters. It's a large open room, has hardwood floors, nice windows, kitchen. There's a bedroom and a bathroom up there. It'll be reconfigured, but it's already set up that way. And don't forget, fire pole's still there. I think that's going to have to come out. I don't think they're going to let us keep that, but it's interesting anyway. So the upstairs will be one single apartment. We've proposed that the parking for these apartments would be on the north side of the building. So if you were to look at the firehouse, the north side is to the right side. They'll be labeled apartment 1, apartment 2, apartment 3. They'll have their individual, 2 parking spots per unit. And there are 8 or 9 spots on that side, and those will be reserved for this residential use. So Ms. Mann is going to talk to you about the industrial use, but and I don't want to go into that too deeply since that's what she's going to talk about. But there are great restrictions to using this building for commercial purposes, including that we cannot change the building or the parking lot. The proximity of the river and the large upstairs space, which doesn't really have any current commercial use. One example, probably the best and most recent example of why this use variance should be granted is the Coventry Housing Authority has acquired 633 Main Street in Coventry, which is the next building to the north of this building. You have to go a ways because the state of Rhode Island owns that strip along the river.
It's just on the other side of Lincoln.
Just on the other side of the river. So the Coventry Housing bought that mill building in an industrial 2 district, came before planning, got a comprehensive permit, and they're turning it into a residential use. So to me, that's, some of the most persuasive evidence, rather than what I'm saying, and not to like cut it down too much. So, like I said, I don't want to be redundant. Ms. Mann and I will be here to answer any questions you have, but I don't want to talk too much about the neighborhood or what we're doing here because Ms. Mann is going to cover that in her testimony. So, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I'll ask her to come up and introduce herself, swear her in. And I have her report, which I'll pass out. Why don't you come up? Okay, so.
Mr.
state-
Cronin,
yeah,
would it be wise to swear you both in at the same time,
That's fine.
even though you don't mind? Okay, I'm gonna ask both of you to give your full name and address.
Raise your right hands.
Thomas Cronin, 1070 Main Street, Coventry, Rhode Island.
Ma'am,
Vanessa Mann, and I'm located, my business is 131 Sandy Bottom Road in Coventry.
okay, I'm gonna ask you both to raise your right. hand. Swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth in front of this board.
Do.
Thank
Can I have one moment, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
Wow. Oh,
I'm not rebutting.
Thank you.
thanks, Councilman.
We'll do an informal. So please describe to the board your credentials. And then provide some brief testimony on the investigation you did and your findings.
Sure. very good.
Thank you.
My name is Vanessa Mann. I'm a certified general appraiser in the state of Rhode Island. I also hold a designation with the Appraisal Institute. I have been appraising commercial real estate in the state of Rhode Island for the last 20 years. I'm located, my office is in Coventry. I also live in Coventry. I've done hundreds, if not probably hundreds of appraisals in Coventry, thousands throughout the state of Rhode Island. So I would like to tell you, I won't tell you too much about the building and the property because I think we all know it pretty well. It's been in existence for a long time. And I try not to repeat too much of what Mr. Cronin said. So part of what I did was I went to the property with Mr. Cronin, I'm the property owner. It was 2 weeks ago today, I believe. We walked around, I went inside, I took some pictures. I walked up the stairs, I walked the site to the best of my ability, which was somewhat difficult because of the slope in the back. I wasn't up for swim that day. And it's a unique structure in our community. I don't think we have many other firehouses in Coventry that are like this.
It's actually one of the oldest firehouses in the state.
Thank you. I wouldn't, thank you. So unique real estate, and that's my business is real estate. So when I looked at the property, I'm always determining what the use is. Every day I walk into properties and I say, what's the best use of the property? What will the market do with it if you throw it out there? So it's in an industrial zone. So that's unique in that there's not a lot of industrial zones. This industrial zoning district was created just for Old Milford, which just in all of the Harris section, all of the old mill buildings have been converted to residential. So other unique nature of the property is it has a pretty small lot. 8,400 plus or minus square feet in Coventry, 9,000 total. That front corner, it's there, but I think that's where the fire pole is.
Pretty close.
And I did go down it, you can testify to that. So it is a small lot, abutting the river, which makes it unique. So in looking at possible industrial uses to accommodate its zone, you go to the market and say, what would somebody do with it? Could you do anything with industrial? Well, it would be, you can't expand it, which anybody who owns a business always wants that opportunity to make it a little bit more. And also, you can't put a lot of stuff outside. You can't store materials on it. You can't store trucks. You can't start having oil leaking on the ground. As much as it's in an industrial zone, it is still along the river. Additionally, the second floor is set up like an apartment today.
Yep.
The market for a commercial user would be non-existent. Nobody likes commercial walk-up space. Everywhere that there is upper level space, it gets converted to residential. There's no market for it. Along Phoenix, and I realize that's West Warwick, almost all of the commercial space that had previously been on the second floor has all been converted to residential.
Yep.
It's also just to meet the conditions. The owner has done nothing to this property except for general maintenance since their purchase in 2018. They've created no conditions to create any adverse conditions on the site. as I said, the I2 zoning, it was created for this historic mill structure, which we're all kind of pushing to the side and creating residential housing. In analyzing the relief of the property, what is the least relief possible? It's a big building, 3,400 plus minus square feet for 3 apartments. 1,000 square feet apartment, that's pretty good size 2-bedroom unit. And I think there may have been ideas in the past that maybe did not come to fruition of additional units. So this would definitely be minimal. And 3 residential units wouldn't have a huge impact, especially considering that they have 2 parking spaces and probably enough for 1 or 2 guest spots along that north side of the building. The parking, the spots that are shown in front, the restaurant does use now for their own. So in analyzing its best use and what is most beneficial at this site, I believe it's residential, and most of that comes into consideration when you analyze that there's no industrial market along Main Street, that previous industrial buildings have been converted to residential in that area. There are none left. The limited to no expansion capability due to the proximity of the river and the very small size of the lot. It's also noted that we need housing. Residential housing is in high demand. And in fact, Coventry, based on the Rhode Island Housing's integrated housing report, has a 1% vacancy rate. That's some of the lowest in the state. There's a couple out there, say Charleston, waterfront areas that have 0% vacancy. So that would indicate that there is a demand. So from my perspective, from a market perspective, demand always creates the best use. And any industrial use would not be sustainable into the future. If it got used as an industrial building today, in 2-3 years, it would just get turned over because it wouldn't be functional. So for all of those reasons, and in consideration of the impact of the area has a village nature to it, 3 residential apartments would have no negative impact to the health, safety, property values of anything around it. And does the board have any further questions for me or specific?
Do you have research to see if there was any industrial use that you know of that could be used at this location?
Correct. I did a market study, which I do for all assignments, where I researched using local MLS data if possible, which there's not a lot of industrial activity there for MLS data, which tends to be bigger. CoStar data, which is another national cost, a national commercial listing source. And there is no market activity for industrial use in this market area.
Okay, you've also studied that if an industrial use was to move in there, you don't believe they'd be able to grow to service the use that they're bringing in?
No, because once you put in cars of employees and any trucks, they tend to have, industrial uses tend to have equipment, trucks, and because of the smaller nature of the site, it would be difficult to accommodate those kinds of uses.
All right, I have no other questions on any of the board members.
I do not.
Go ahead. I don't have a question. I have more of a concern.
Of course.
The parking in the front. So is there plans to have doors put into the overhead doors? Or my understanding is an apartment on the top, residency on the top floor, one on the bottom below it, and one to the north.
One in that addition section, yeah.
So accessibility, would there be any doors on the front of the building put into where the overhead doors were?
I believe they're gonna wall that off with high level windows.
Yep.
And there's already a door on the north side of the building for egress, a door on the south side of the building for egress. I believe there's one in the rear as well, but no plans or specifications about that were.
The door on the north leads you into the addition. That's what we used to call it. The main building. Access is, there's two doors on the,
I
I
got
guess-
the overhead door.
no, we're talking about entry doors. So there's two doors on the south side, the bell tower side of the building, and, so I'm assuming the front one would be access to the stairs to go.
I would imagine, yeah.
Okay. My concern is that traversing through there many times, on a Friday night or a Saturday night, it's well, just what happened last weekend when the Holy Ghost had their feast, Main Street just gets clogged with cars. I mean, it's extremely tight in there. Could there be some plans to, instead of having, I realize that parking is
Yeah.
a premium over there. Is there any way that we could, I know we'd have to take some out of it, but like turn them sideways, so maybe we only have 2 or 3, because ultimately these cars are gonna be back, not going to be, they back out onto Main Street. My concern is that with all those cars, and now we're gonna add people gonna live there, there's a possibility of maybe children being there. I'm concerned about, the possibility. I don't want any of these kids getting, clipped or, just the more we could make it beneficial to that, I'd be certainly happy with that. I know there's plenty of parking on the side for the tenants or the people that live there. Maybe we could do something with that. Other than that, I think the project is phenomenal. That they're taking to preserve the history that we have here and to make it's gonna fit right in there. I mean, it's absolutely perfect. I mean, if you look at what those 2 old mills up the street looked like before they started working on them, and then the little one that's beyond that, I was totally amazed that, they're doing what they're doing to it, but to rehab that whole thing and to everybody getting the benefit out, I think it's just a plus. I really do. I think this is top notch in my book.
So at planning, Mr. Lackley, Glenn Anderson had a thought that we make those front spots, compact cars only, like you see in some garages, you know what I mean? And Mr. Colunian, who of course works at the DOT, had the same idea as you, that to turn them, make it 3 spaces turn the other way
Yep.
in front of the building. So, well, we have to talk to the architect about that, but those were some of the, both the concerns and solutions similar to what you're offering tonight. And, the client has agreed to consider them, whatever would work.
I mean, I've known the owner's father for a very long time, and the uncle and so on and so forth. And the place is phenomenal. The fact that it's always packed with people is a fact that, they've got a good business. They're doing a good deal. So the place is, for lack of better words, is always hopping. And I know that trying to find a parking spot it's on a Friday night, you're better off parking Phoenix Square and walk in. You really are. It's just that I understand the concern about that. That's my always concern is public safety. So, but if we can do something, that would be great. That's
Don't
just,
give away the public, the spot to the public. That's where I park too, down by Hudson's and walk down, right?
wow, Hudson, this is a blast from the past.
I agree with everything you said, especially when you look at this picture here on this report. It shows like I'd say a mid-sized SUV, basically right up against the garage door and almost touching the street. So if the tenants that are living in, that would be accessing the south and the top units, have to walk their kids, and there's a car there, they're gonna be pretty close to the road. So if we could get the cars to park diagonally or make
That's even a better picture.
that's even
Same
better picture. Diagonally to give a little more buffer between the kid, the grocery bags, and whatever else. That would be great. And I agree, I think it's probably the best use for this.
Absolutely.
Especially if it's a neat looking building, it's gonna keep the historic look of it, it's even better.
So despite all the words that spilled forth from my mouth tonight, I did forget to mention something, and I never want to not have full disclosure before the board. Could I just go to the board for a second to be the easiest thing?
Sure.
So this bump out at the rear of the building along the river,
Yep.
the other addition, I don't know what you call it. It's,
That's where they put the office. He's gonna keep that for storage.
she's gonna keep that for
Yeah.
storage. I forgot to mention that. I apologize.
It was in your report.
Thank you.
So can they, if they're parked in the north lot there, can they walk behind the building to get there?
You can, it's crushed gravel
Yeah.
and it's not great.
But it could be, it could be
Still
made,
sloping towards the river a little bit.
It is walkable.
yeah, but they could ultimately, if the traffic was.
Oh, yeah.
walking close to the main street.
Yeah, they could walk.
walk
Yes.
there.
And as Mr. Lackley, his familiarity with the building exceeds mine, but there's a door right here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a door here.
Yep.
There's a door here. Those are the two main doors, but there's one right here. That would also lead to the interior.
That opened up into the back of the apparatus room and right at the chief's office and I think where the bathrooms are.
So each unit would have their own own exterior door.
Well, they would be probably overlap because of the egress requirements for fire.
Okay.
It's not gonna be easy to change this building in any way. Egress is gonna, the second form of egress. Even when you're walking through the building, you're thinking about how they're gonna do that. And, one of the ideas is to have a back hall. That goes to that rear door.
Is there a possibility of putting I know this is, I'm throwing it out, I'm spitballing right now, but the addition is a flat roof. Could to aid in what you were just talking about. It's not me, it's the fire marshal that's gonna make that determination, but could a second means of egress for the second floor be done on the flat roof? And
So,
then stairs going, behind the building or something, just to, in the event of an emergency, they could certainly do that. But again, the marshal will make that.
We were looking at that as well. We're worried about the size of that window.
Yep.
Whether it would meet the need,
Yep, okay.
so.
Again, I don't want to overstep I'm not the fire marshal anymore, so.
Thank you.
One last question. You said you're not gonna change the outside appearance. So the sign that's on the front of it, that says the Phoenix Fire Station, is that gonna remain or are you gonna take that down?
It's gonna remain.
Excellent, thank you.
I think the Milanes family is looking for a home for that bell. They want to preserve it.
I don't think that'll be a problem. I'm
Yeah.
relatively certain that
Maybe it'll stay, but, I don't know if it'll be properly cared for.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't realize the bell was still there. And when I was younger, there wasn't a fire pole. We actually had one installed. And it just added to the charm of the building, so. Obviously, that's gonna have to be taken out and sealed and so on and so forth, but it's. It's just a piece of history that would be nice to stay there if we could do that, but again, it's not my fault. Thank you.
We thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anybody else that would like to speak on this application? There's nobody here that would like to speak on this application, have any questions on the application or any concerns? All right, now I'm gonna ask if there's anybody online that would like to speak on this application. Yes, is there anybody online that would like to speak on this application or have a question on this application or anything at all?
Nothing. We're good.
See, we have nobody, no question. What's that?
The chairman, if I could ask that the board take a vote to make this part of the record, which is the zoning testimony presented tonight by Vanessa Mann.
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it.
Mis-
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, in lieu of the fact that we don't have anybody asking any questions, or it doesn't appear that people are not in favor of this, would it be appropriate to pose a motion that we vote on this tonight?
I'm sorry. Okay, Russ is asking for a motion to vote on this tonight.
I want to know if it'd be appropriate if we could vote on this tonight.
Do not see, I'm looking for a question, why not? I do not see why not. Everything that's been brought up is the historical value of this building, the location, the appearance of this building, architectural wise, is absolutely fantastic.
Stunning.
I think it's, the only thing I would like to, I don't know if we can do this. Can we also leave this up to a, not only residential, but say like commercial space? Can that be used both? No, it cannot, huh?
I would just say you can react to the application in front of you, which is asking just for residential at this time.
Just for residential, okay. All right, apparently just for residential, and I don't have no complaints. I think it's a good use of residential. As was, we know of the residential use is well wanted, well needed. And I think it's actually beautiful architecture, absolutely gorgeous architecture.
Mr. Chairman, in light of this, I make a motion, we vote on this tonight.
Second.
We have a motion made, and all those in favor say aye. Second.
Aye.
Okay, nays, no nays, okay, so I take it we're gonna vote on it tonight. Okay, you wanna start off with you, Keith?
Mr. Chairman, we have 2 votes, don't we, sir?
You wanna vote?
We got special use permits in a dimension, no, we got 1, right?
Just one.
Just 1, I'm sorry.
Just one.
Yes, I approve, Mr. Chairman.
Ross Pelletier,
I approve.
Russ,
I approve.
Chair also approves, as presented. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you.
The next application is Kathy Jean Tondra. The location is AP 23 Lot 7, 10 Harrington Road. The zone is R20. Applicants are seeking a dimensional variance and special use permit to construct an attached 23 by 28 by 20 garage, 10 feet from the property line where 20 feet is required.
Okay, is the applicant here? Okay, please raise your right hand. You swear and tell the truth, nothing but the truth in front of this board,
I do.
and your full name and address again?
Kathy Jean Tondre, 10 Harrington Road, Coventry, Rhode Island.
Okay, explain to me what you'd like to do.
I just want to put a 2-car garage that would be attached to the house that allow me to have covered parking and safer parking by able to go in and shut the door before I get out of my car.
Okay, so you wish to seek a special use permit to construct a 23 by 28 by 20 garage, 10 feet from the property line where 20 feet is required. Okay, so we had a set of plans here in front of us. And we're gonna be, where's the next door neighbor? The closest problem.
Garage?
Okay, can you point out where that is going to be? All right. You can't touch it, can't touch it. It's on that side, so 10 feet away? 35 feet away.
So there's a picture in the package. Looks like the front of your house with the driveway, and then the driveway just goes into a yard.
Mhm.
Will the addition be basically the width of the driveway? Or maybe a little
A little bigger,
bigger? Okay.
a little
Do you
bit.
know how wide your driveway is, just to have as a scale?
I didn't measure it. I mean, I
But
can,
it's usually like 2 cars wide.
2 cars wide, yep, 4 cars total.
The last page says that the house is 42 feet long and the addition is looking to be 28, so,
I was just looking at
Yep.
that picture.
yeah, trying to put it together.
Garage,
Yep.
the width of that, kind of get an idea.
You're not coming out any further than the front of the house.
Correct.
So you're not approaching the road any
Nope.
closer than
No,
the existing house.
Those are very long, narrow lots that on Highlands. I didn't realize that. Yeah, it looks like a good site. Yeah, it's like-
Okay, do any other board members have any questions? Okay, at this time here, I'm gonna ask you to take a seat. And I'd like to see if there's anybody here that would like to speak on this application for, against, or have any questions. Does anybody has any questions on the application? Or just anything at all? Okay, now I'm also gonna ask if there's anybody online that would like to speak on this application, has a question on it, or before, against it, or anything at all? Nothing? Nobody online. Okay. And again, I'm gonna ask the board, how do you feel on this application? I mean, I think it looks like it's gonna make an improvement to the area.
So it's a natural spot for a garage, in my
Yep.
opinion.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think it's just gonna add to the area.
I don't see a problem with it at all.
No, I don't either. I'm really thinking hard.
Yeah.
I think I like the way the front yard's still gonna have that
Yep.
full driveway in the
Yep.
front. And you're just gonna make the house look very dominating, which is good. You know, it's gonna make it do a good appearance. You still have a good sized backyard. So I don't see where it's gonna take away from anything.
I don't see any downside.
I don't either. Anybody else?
Make a motion, we approve it tonight.
I agree.
Second,
Motion's made by Russ, seconded by Keith. All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Nays, ayes have.
Mr. Chairman, just for clarity's sake, you're approving the dimensional variance and the special use permit, correct?
Correct.
That's correct.
Okay.
So we need 2 votes on it.
We'll do 2 votes on. All right, we'll start with the special use permit. All right, Ross Pelletier, how do you vote on the special use permit?
Approve the special use permit.
Okay,
I also approve this special use permit.
Chair also approves the special use permit. Keith,
I approve the special use permit.
okay, now we have a vote, Metro,
Variance.
variance, I'm sorry. Okay, dimensional variance. All right, Keith, how do you vote on that?
I approve, Mr. Chairman.
I also approve. Russ,
I approve.
Russ,
Approve.
approve. Okay, application is approved as presented.
Good luck.
Okay. Next,
That's it.
That's it. Party's over.
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman?
Second,
okay, I have a motion there and seconded, all in favor say aye.
aye.
Nays, ayes have it. Okay, I see this young couple's here. Are they here for something special?
Apparently didn't make the meeting, but we got a letter.
About the industrial park.
It's, 1600 Flatbush Road.
That application was that application was withdrawn a couple of weeks ago. And they actually resubmitted a new application. It is scheduled to be heard October 4th. So you should receive a new letter.
What's the address?
1600 Flat River Road.
Yeah. American